Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. So I do have a surprise story time for you guys. I know you guys have been hanging in there with me and just really been like, you know, dealing with my ass and not uploading on a normal schedule because of everything that's been going on in my life right now. So here's an extra story time as promised. Now I did want to do this on the 1st of October. This is a Halloween themed story. Disclaimer before we get into this story, some of you guys came here to just have a good time and laugh. Some of you guys came here to try to judge me and preach at me about your own opinions and beliefs. And some of you guys came over here to for real hear the tea and try to like avenge something or like start some shit. So I'm just gonna let you guys know right now, the purpose of this video is just to have a good time, to recount my memories. I do have the right to talk about this just because I was the one that lived through it and that had to deal with it, and it is my experience and my story. This is going to be in addition to my host stepsister series on my channel. This is one of y'all's absolute favorite series on my channel because my glamazons are just messy, girl. I did title this video The Haunted Hoe, so if you guys would like to hear this story, please keep on watching. As usual, before we get into today's story time, today's glamour shot of the day is my gorgeous glamazon, Cecily. You look amazing. Thank you so much for hashtagging your glamour shot on Twitter for me so I could see your beautiful face. You look amazing. Thank you so much for all of your love and support and you guys just being so down for me. I appreciate it. You guys know that I would not be here without you, and I could not do what I love without you guys. So thank you guys so much from the bottom of my heart. Now let's get into the story time. I know that you guys are like so excited right now. Like I can just feel it, girl. I could just feel it all up and through my camera. This story is actually going to be giving you guys more of an insight about my first year of high school, which is something that I really don't talk about. Like the high school that I went to before my shitty high school, the high school that I started my freshman year at. Everything took off in like a bad way at my shitty school. So we are actually going to be starting at my first high school, and I've never talked about this place. So I started at this new school. Now the good thing is that I started at the beginning of the year with everybody else, and I was starting with the entire freshman class. Now what I can say about this school is that everybody there was pretty nice for the most part. Like I never had any issues over there, like ever. I didn't have an argument. I didn't have a fight, girl. Like I was just chilling. Nothing substantial happened at this high school, and to be honest, like I really enjoyed it. Okay, like I was having the time of my life. I remember that was the school that I took ceramics and I was like making bowls and shit. I don't know why I'm telling y'all that, but I sure did. I was really bad at it. I'm really bad at art. Just saying. Let's see, I stayed at this high school for about, I want to say 3 months. I know that I was already at my shitty school right before winter break. This time, my mother had not met my stepdad and I had not met my hoe-ass stepsister yet. So I remember I had this science class, okay? And I was already making friends, and there was this kid, there was this boy, all right? Now y'all already know all the great stories always start out with that boy, that crush, that one little boy. I remember seeing this boy and I thought, you guys, I thought that he was the cutest thing I had ever laid my eyes on. I'm gonna describe him real quick for y'all, okay? So he was really tall for his age. For a freshman, he already looked like he was like a junior or senior. He was almost 6 foot. He had like curly hair. He was like really funny, real pretty straight teeth. Teeth are a big thing for me, I'm just saying. One day I go into class and Mrs. Bird decides to switch some shit up. In our science class, we had assigned seats, okay? And I just remember one day we came in to her giving us new seats, and I don't know why, I don't know what prompted her to do this, but guess who Austin was sitting next to? My social skills were not up to par with my peers. Let's just say that, all right? And I knew that. I knew that that was a weakness of mine. I was an awkward person, and I did not know how to start a combo, okay? So I was immediately so anxious, but yet so happy. I had conflicting feelings, okay? All of my teenage years was just confliction. Oh my God, his fine ass is coming to sit next to me. That one change made Austin and I talk, and we were able to like talk about homework and talk about the classwork. And then all of a sudden one day I realized that he and I were legit friends, okay? I don't know how I made this happen, girl. I don't know, but I was able to talk to my crush, and like from one day to the next we were just talking more and more. And then one day came around, and I remember I had gym class and then I was going into lunch, right? And Austin and I had the same lunch period, but I never, ever talked to him, okay? I stayed with my little 3 group of friends. I got out of gym class, you guys, and Austin's fine ass was standing outside of my gym class waiting for me. He was waiting for your girl. He was waiting for me one day and asked me if I'd like to have lunch with him. And so I was like, oh my God. You guys, I was living. Like, honestly, I was like the happiest little girl, okay? Go to the cafeteria together, and at that moment, I started asking myself, oh my God, like, does he see me as more than a friend? What do I do now? Like, do I ask him? I have a conversation with him. Do I ignore it? Do I act like I don't see it? Do I not question it? I was just doing the most, okay? Now, Austin was very quiet and he was very, very sweet, but he was very troubled. And I didn't figure that out until kind of getting to know him. He had issues at home. He came from a single parent home. When I learned a little bit more about Austin, I'm not gonna lie, there was a lot that I sympathized with him about. So in a way, I kind of felt bad for him and I pitied him because of his background. Now, I'm not going to go all up in depth about his business, but he didn't come from the best of homes or the best of backgrounds, okay? So I remember him kind of confiding in me about some of the things that he had gone through, and I inevitably felt bad and almost pitied him. And I think part of my pity made me want to like him even more and like take care of him because I didn't feel like he was like being taken care of at home. I don't know. So my obsession or my attraction to him became even more so because I was like, oh my God, like, you're so sweet and like, you don't deserve that. Now let's fast forward about a few months. Now by this point, you know, there was no talk between Austin and I about us being a couple, about him asking me out, about anything. Like, he already knew that my mom didn't allow me to date. I was very honest with him up front because I was only 14. There's no way that I can hide a relationship at this point. Like, absolutely none. My mom will beat the shit out of me. Like, I cannot. No. We would be flirty. He would walk me to my classes. You know, we would have lunch together. But other than that, nothing ever happened, okay? Over the next month, he and I like got closer and I just started liking him a lot, you guys. One day came around and I went home and my mom talked to me about this guy that she met. And so she starts talking to me about him and the fact that she's going on a few dates with him. And I was like, oh my God, honestly, you guys, when my mom brought that to me, I was so happy for her because it had been years since I had ever seen my mom date anybody. Like, years. I was worrying for my mom, okay? And I did not want my mom to be lonely or sad. And so I was so happy that she was dating again. Like, this was incredible. Yes, mom, like, you better get it. Like, I'm so excited for you. For the weeks following, my mom was like going out on dates with this guy and like only on the weekends, and you know, she'd be home at a decent hour and whatever. So like, my mom was dating. I was so happy for her. By this time, I already had a cell phone. My mom actually got me a cell phone right after my fight that I had over at the middle school when I fought the pregnant girl. Okay, yeah. Remember I told you guys in that story we had a landline, and that's how I had to call my mom. My mom would give me like a time limit, and if I didn't call her by that time, and if she called me and I didn't answer, ooh girl. So my mom got me a cell phone under one condition, that I would not talk to boys, okay? So I honestly did not. When I had my cell phone at this school, I didn't talk to boys on it. Like, I was too scared to try anything with my mom, okay? Then the time came where my mom came home and she said, he and I have decided that we would like you and his daughter to meet. And my mom had told me that he had a daughter that was 3 years younger than me, and it was perfect and we could be best friends and blah, blah, blah. You know, my mom was like trying to get me excited for it too. Fast forward about another day or two, and the time comes that we have to go on our movie date where I'm going to meet Ariel for the first time. My mom and I went to the movies and we met up with both Ariel and her dad. And I was meeting him for the first time, and I was also meeting her for the first time. I remember thinking, wow, she does not look her age, like at all. She looked older than me. Like, she was just so not only developed, it wasn't just that, it was just the way that she carried herself and the way that she dressed and the way that she spoke and the way that she just was. She seemed a lot older than what she was. So I was 14, so that made her, she was 11. Yeah, oh my God, wow, we were really, really young. So I was about to be 15 and she was about to be 12, okay? So we were both very, very young. Other than that though, everything went well. Like, she was really pleasant, I was trying to be very pleasant. She and I got along just fine. We stayed really quiet. That entire night was about our parents. So we went to the movies. She sat next to me. We let our parents sit next to each other. And like, you know, we were there to just support our parents. You could tell. So one day after school, Ariel and her dad are at my house. Right off the bat, you guys, I knew something was off because like our parents were just acting really, really weird. I sat down next to Ariel and our parents told us that we were going to be combining households. Now, I would be sitting here lying to you guys if I told you that she and I didn't throw a fit, because we did. Ariel for sure, okay, at that point, that's when I started seeing like some of Ariel's real personality coming out, because that day she fucking tripped. She really did, and she was really upset, and she like started trying to get loud, and she was like, wait a minute. I understand it, because like when you're a teenager or when you're younger and you're not an adult, you don't have control over your life. You don't. Your parents do. They make the decisions for you, and you just have to sit there and cross your fingers and hope it works out and just kind of roll with the punches, okay? She and I were just not handling it well. Now, the difference between Ariel and I is back then I suffered in silence, and I knew that it was better to just like hold my tongue than it was to like try to talk crazy to my mom, because it just wasn't going to work. I knew my mother, and my mom, when she makes a decision, you will not get her to waver. And I just had to respect her decision and be like, oh fuck, like I guess we're moving. So here we go. We start moving, all right? And we move within the next month, you guys. I am moving across town, and I'm about to start at my shitty school, okay? I was so sad that I had to like move schools, because I was like, fine, like I had my crush here, like my crush liked me, like everything was fine, okay? And so I was pissed, and I went to school and I told Austin, and I was like, I can't believe my mom's making this decision, like I don't even know them like that, and we're gonna have to move. You guys, it was far, okay? Where I was living and where I ended up over at the shitty school, it was far as hell, all right? And so I was like, it's not even like we're moving down the street or like, you know, a neighborhood over. Now it's like all the way across town, like far away, okay? And so I was pissed, and I was so sad and so angry and so hurt, and I was like, I gotta lay my crush behind. He didn't deal with bad news well, so he legit did not talk to me for like a good day. Like, and it wasn't him being mad at me, he just didn't deal with shit like that, like change. He didn't deal with change well, okay? He had issues. So Austin like basically takes a sabbatical and doesn't talk to me for a full day, and for me that felt like 10 years. Now fast forward to the following day, and Austin comes to my locker in the morning. I shut like my locker door, and I just looked at him, and my feelings were hurt, because I was like, why are you blaming me and not talking to me for something that I can't control? I'm not trying to move. My mom has me moving. Like, I'm already going through enough. So like my feelings were hurt. And he just sat there, and then he just hugged me. And he hugged me so tight, and he was like, I'm so sad that you're leaving. Like, I don't know why this always happens to me. Like, people that I genuinely enjoy or like that make me happy in my life can never stay. And I was so sad, you guys. Like, I was just so sad about it. Telling me basically that he knew it, that he knew that meeting me was too good to be true and all of this other shit, right? And so he's like playing on my emotions and like making me feel like I'm an addition to the list of things that have hurt him in his life. This is where I made the decision that I had never made before. I had never tested it. I had never even thought about it, okay? But this boy made me lose my ever-loving mind. After thinking about it over a few class periods, I decided in my science class that I was going to give Austin my phone number, okay? Now this is a big deal, because I had never done this before, because my mom was very invasive. My mom did not believe in closed doors in the house. My mom did not believe in privacy when it comes to kids, because she, you know, she was being a mom. She would go through my things, make sure I didn't have no paraphernalia, that I wasn't into any type of shit. She would go through my phone almost every night, make sure I wasn't texting no boys. But I noticed, just a little observation, I noticed that ever since my mom got with her man, that she wasn't as all up into my shit as she was before. Like, she didn't go through my phone every night. She would go through it maybe like once a week now. And like, she wouldn't check my room all the time because she had dates. You know what I'm saying? So like, I kind of felt like, ooh, this is my chance to kind of get a little freedom because her attention is elsewhere, right? So I was like, I feel like I can manage him having my phone number. So girl, I remember being like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm giving out my phone number. Like, this was so foreign to me, and my mom warned me and told me, let me find out. You got some little boys on this phone that I'm paying for. Let me find out. I for real told him, I was like, I am risking my life, okay? So listen to me and listen to me good. You do not text me unless I text you, okay? And I will let you know when to not text me again. I will have you saved in my phone under a girl's name. Like, we got to do this the smart way because I'm not trying to get killed. Fast forward about 2 days, and I text Austin for the first time, and he started texting me back. And you guys, I was like in heaven. Just the realization that I could talk to my crush anytime throughout the day. If I just got bored or if I got lonely or whatever was happening, I could just shoot him a quick text. You guys, a whole new world opened up to me, and I was so excited. I almost became careless about it. And then one day, my mom went through my phone and she saw text messages from, I think I had him under like Jessica or something, because he was like calling me beautiful and like, oh, you're so pretty and like stuff like that. And so my mom was like, why is this girl like being all weird? And I was like, huh? What? No. What? Again, my mom didn't have the time that she used to have to go through my shit as thoroughly as she used to. Ariel and I shared a room together, and we just had to like fucking figure it out and get to know each other while sharing a room, sharing a bathroom, sharing everything, okay? Like, I didn't know whether or not Ariel was a snitch, alright? I just didn't know her like that, so I never told her about Austin, ever. I never talked to her about it because I was still very guarded. I would say goodnight to our parents, and then I would go to bed, and then she would go to bed, and I would be sitting there texting Austin under my covers for the rest of the night. During this time, it was like a weird transition period. We weren't fully moved out of our place, and we weren't fully moved into their place yet. Like, we were kind of still going back and forth and bringing things over, and I was still going to my first school with Austin. So we went to this church, we went to this event, and all the kids are there, we're dressed up or whatever in our Halloween costumes, and you know, we went to like the youth part of the church, and the kids in there were like telling scary stories and like trying to scare one another, and like what kids do around Halloween, right? They start claiming that their house is haunted and all this other shit, right? And out of nowhere, like while we're sitting with our youth group, Ariel pipes in and was like, oh yeah, our place is haunted. And like, she went like this, like, our place is haunted. Bitch, what? Oh, I didn't even tell you. She's like, good, I'll tell everybody the story. So like, she, you know, basically got ready for story time. The place that she's living in, that we are living in right now, and her room, that she feels like a presence of like a little girl, and that sometimes she hears whispering, that the doors open and close by themselves, faucets turn on and off by themselves. I had only been like living with her like every single night for about a week, and I did not have any experiences like that, okay? But she was like insisting that it was the truth. She kept saying that the spirit that she felt like wasn't a bad spirit or wasn't like mean or didn't want to hurt her. It was like a spirit of a little girl. I don't do well with spirits, okay? I don't care if it's nice or bad or good. I don't care. Like, if I even feel that type of shift in the air and I feel like somebody's watching, oh no, don't sit up here and tell me that there's a little creepy ass girl running around our room and shit in the middle of the night. What you mean? It was like very accepting of it, and she was like, you know, it is what it is. Like, I've tried to fight it, I've tried praying, and it is what it is. This little girl's just there, and she doesn't do anything to hurt us. She's just there. So, and she looked at me, she was like, if you hear anything in the middle of the night, it's probably the little girl. Later on that night, of course, that's all I can think about is like the fact that there's probably this spirit or this ghost, like what the hell, and I'm just learning about this, and like I just don't take shit like that lightly, okay? So needless to say, when I went home that night, all I could think about was what Ariel had said, that where I'm living now is haunted. There could be like a little girl, and like, Ugh. Ariel and I had 2 twin beds, right? And they were like on the opposite sides of the room, and then we had our closet in between. And so that night, I remember we like said goodnight to our parents. We were both in our pajamas. She was in her bed, I was in mine, and she was writing in her diary. Now this girl always kept a diary. Keep that in mind, because that diary is going to come into play in a few other stories. Every sound, every creak, every little noise, I was like, oh bitch, like, oh shit, like what the fuck? Was that her? Was that her? So finally I was like, hey, can I talk to you? And she's like, yeah. So she closed her diary, and I was like, were you being for real, like with the story that you were telling, or were you just like trying to scare the kids? And she's like, girl, I'm being for real. She was so nonchalant about it, and she was like, you know, it's not a big deal, don't be scared, like she's not gonna do anything to you. Like she was referring to the spirit as she, and like she knew it, like she had a relationship, like an understanding with it, okay? And so I was like, oh my God. And I was like, do you know anything about her? And I've seen her like twice. And I was like, what? And she goes, yeah, I've seen her in the mirror when I got out of the shower. I saw her just for a split second. She was like, she's like 6 or 7, you know, she's really playful. She'll like move my things sometimes, like I'll put something on the table and it'll be across the room when I come back, or you know, sometimes like she'll mess with the faucets. Like, you guys, it was so nonchalant. I'm getting goosebumps now. Like, it was just so crazy to me. And I was like, wait, you were talking about this like this is your little sister, okay? Like, what you mean? Ariel was always like a very like spiritual person. Like, she believed in another dimension, and like, you know, that spirits can come in and out. She used to talk to me about that kind of stuff all the time. So the thought of having a spirit that just roamed around her house was absolutely normal for her, and she was fine with it as long as the spirit wasn't mean or didn't do anything bad. She was cool with just living amongst spirits. And I was just like, oh bitch, no. So I remember telling Austin this, and you guys, it was just bothering me so much. Like, I could not get my head around this, okay? I remember I went home and I had texted Austin, and it was like right after school, and I was like, oh my God, I'm so scared to be here. And he texted me back, and he was like, don't worry, if you get scared, just call me or text me and I'll always be here, right? And it was just like that little puppy love. So things didn't start getting weird until that night, okay? So I had gone to school, I told Austin, you know, whatever. I came home, I texted him that I was like still scarred, and you know, he's being all sweet and supportive, and I just felt so weird in this house, you guys. I just immediately, after finding out, like, I just felt cold, and I felt scared all the time. The night went on as usual. We had dinner, we said goodnight to our parents, and we went to sleep. And it took me about a good hour to fall asleep because I was still very anxious, and I was like, oh my God, like something's here. And then finally I was like, you know what, whatever. Like, I haven't heard anything, I haven't seen anything, I'm not gonna trip on it. Like, I need to sleep because I wasn't sleeping very well. So finally I was like, fuck it. Like, I haven't seen anything, like she's probably full of shit. So boom, I fall asleep, and I'm not now, but I was such a deep sleeper. My mom had to go through so much to get me up in the morning when I was a kid because I could just sleep through anything. And I fell asleep, and I just woke up to a voice, and it was like whispering. And I was like turned towards the wall because my bed was up against the wall, and I was like turned towards the wall, and I hear this whispering voice behind me, and it's like, it sounds like it's in the middle of our room. Like, that's all you can hear is just like the whispering. And I just opened my eyes, and I was like, am I tripping? Like, am I going crazy? And sure enough, you guys, I could hear it right behind me, just whispering and whispering and whispering. And I couldn't make out what it was saying, but I was like frozen in fear. And I was like, what in the fuck, right? And so I sit there, you guys, and I like get really quiet, and it's still, and you can hear it like laughing, and just keep talking and laughing and talking, right? All I could do was just take my blankets and cover my head. I was like, go away, go away, go away. And in my mind, I was like, go away, go away, go away. And I just like put the covers over my head, and I had not been this scared since I was little. Like, I was already in high school feeling like this, and I could not believe it, you guys. I could hear it. I could hear the whispering, and I was like, oh my God, like, this is my first experience hearing this little girl. Oh my God, like, it's in the middle of our room, and it's like laughing and shit. I sat there, you guys, and it whispered and whispered, and it went on for a good 20 minutes, just, and finally it stopped. it stopped out of nowhere and no other sounds were heard. Like, I just stayed really, really still, and I did not go to sleep for the rest of the night. That happened at like 2 in the morning. I woke up at like 6 because I could not, you guys, I was so scared. I wait for Ariel to wake up, and she and I are having breakfast. I looked across the table and I was like, I think I heard her last night. And she just looked up from her cereal, not even fazed, and she was like, oh my God, really? And I was like, yeah. She was like, was she laughing? And I was like, yeah. And she goes, yeah, you know, so she just entertains herself sometimes. I ate the rest of my breakfast and I was like, there's no point in talking to you because you are just so accepting of this entire thing, and like, I cannot. And that day I met up with Austin for lunch, and I was like telling him everything, and I was like, I heard whispering in the middle of my room last night, and he just acted really weird. Hello, like, I'm telling you, remember that spirit that I was telling you that girl said she had in her room? I heard it last night. Well, what did it say? And I was like, I don't know, like, I couldn't make out the words. And he goes, huh. He goes, did you hear anything? And I said, no, I just heard like whispering and laughing. That's weird. And I was like, yeah, I know. And I'm like sitting there like, I know, right? Like, this is weird as shit. Like, why is nobody else freaking out like me? Like, would you not freak out if you moved into some place with like your new stepsister and that bitch is telling you that her room is haunted and you just hear it? I heard it. Okay? I heard that shit. Your mind's playing tricks on you. That was basically what he was saying. Your mind's playing tricks on you. You're thinking about it too much. That night, I didn't hear anything. The next night, I didn't hear anything. I want to say like 3 or 4 days passed and I didn't hear anything. And I started thinking, maybe bitch, you're just fucking crazy. Maybe you did overthink it and your mind's playing tricks on you. And after about the 3rd or 4th day of not hearing it, I shrugged it off and just thought my ass was crazy. All right? Fast forward like 3 or 4 days, and then the same thing happens, you guys. The same exact thing. It wakes me up out of my sleep. And the laughing part, it was laughing like that. And I'm so scared. And then out of nowhere, I just feel this feeling of like anger. And I was like, oh no, like, I'm not going to sit up here and be bothered all the time. If this is a spirit, this spirit's gonna know not to be fucking with me. Like, do not come up in here and be making all kinds of noise. So out of nowhere, you guys, I just felt like this feeling of like being done. I sat up in my bed and it's dark in my room. The minute that I sit up, it stops. The whispering just stops, like mid like whisper. It just stops. Ariel's not there. Ariel's not in her bed. I can see. My eyes have already adjusted. There's a window that we had in there, and Ariel wasn't in her bed. There's nobody in the room. It's dark. Ariel's not here, and I'm like, oh shit. I jump up out of that bed so fucking fast, you guys, and I opened our room door and I see the bathroom light on, and Ariel and I had our bathroom and our parents had their bathroom in the room. I run into the room and Ariel's just standing there, you guys. She's standing at the sink, and the minute that I walk in, she turns on the faucet and acts like she's washing her hands. But I swear to you, when I walked into that bathroom, she was not washing her hands. She was just sitting there looking at herself in the mirror, you guys. It was like the craziest shit I had ever seen in my life. I was so scared. I was like, the fuck? Where am I? What the fuck are you doing? And she was like, nothing. I just had to go to the bathroom. And I was like, was that you whispering? And she goes, no, you know who that was. There wasn't a whole lot of arguing that I could do. Like, what else could she have been doing? I don't know. I don't have any theories. So I was like, okay, bitch. Okay. As I went back into the room, I got my pillow, I got my blanket. For the rest of the night, I slept on the couch. I was not about to do it. I was fully convinced that my room was haunted and that this bitch right here is crazy and she's in it somehow. The way that I walked in on her in that bathroom, you guys, like, she was dead on, like, looking at herself in the mirror, like, with both of her hands on the counter looking at herself in the mirror. And I was like, on the couch, I got up that day and I went to school, and that was going to be my last day. After that, I was going to start at my new shitty school. So I was already upset. That day started out shitty because I got woken up in the middle of the night by some spirit, some ghost girl whispering in the middle of my room again, and then finding my stepsister just standing all fucking creepy in her bathroom. So I'm just like all types of disturbed. Like, I'm just so scared, and I'm like about to have a conversation with my mother because I cannot handle this. I'm really scared. When I went to school, I was no longer worried about the whole like ghost girl. I was really sad that I was leaving. I had my friends there. I was leaving the only high school that I knew, and I was leaving Austin's fine ass, okay? I was leaving. Austin walked me to the bus stop that day. He and I shared our first kiss. It wasn't anything like that. It was just a little peck. He had like a cousin or something that lived on that side of town. He was like, I will go to my cousin's house and come see you. Like, don't worry, right? And I was so sad, you guys. Honestly, for a split second, I forgot about the entire ghost situation at my house, okay? I had every intention of going home and talking to my mom because I was just like, I don't want to sleep here anymore. I don't want to be here anymore. Like, I'm scared. And I come home and find out that they're going on a date night. I don't want to ruin my mom's night. Like, go have fun. I will talk to you about it in the morning. I just need to last one more night, okay? So that night, Ariel and I had the house to ourselves, and I decided to just watch movies in the living room with all the lights on. And Ariel was doing her own thing in the room. She like took a shower or whatever. She did her own thing. I did my own thing. And honestly, I was just trying to stay the fuck up out of that room because I don't know what's in there, and I'm still not okay with this entire situation. And I'm about to talk to my mom tomorrow to get the fuck up out of here. I knew that my parents were going to be coming home that night from their date, and I couldn't just be sleeping on the couch. So I went back into the room with the intention of just staying in the room until like midnight or 1 in the morning after my parents came home, and then going back out into the living room because I didn't want to worry my mom after she had like her date night and they're like trying to have a good night. I went back into the room with Ariel. Ariel was in there writing in her diary again, and I sat on my bed and I went through my phone, and I was hardly ever on my phone because back then like there weren't all of these apps and shit like we have now. Like, you just couldn't do as much on your phone. I put my phone back on my nightstand and I, turn over and I pretend like I'm going to sleep. I'm not about to go to sleep, okay? I'm just waiting it out until my parents get home, and that way they don't suspect anything and I don't have to talk about this right now. I can talk to my mom about it in the morning. I'm just gonna stay here for a few hours. Fast forward like an hour or two, and then I hear my parents come in through the front door, and I hear them go into their room and shut the door, right? And I was like laying there and I was like, oh my God, like it's gonna be so cold when I get out from under these covers. Like, I don't want to. I don't want to get out of these warm covers. So I decided to like lay there for a few more minutes until I could coax myself and motivate myself to get out in the booty crack cold to like go to the living room, right? Enjoying my coziness. Out of nowhere, I hear the whispering again. I just listened to it for a good like 10 minutes, and it's constant, just whispering and whispering. It would stop for a few seconds and then it would start again. And it was like it was having a conversation. That was how it sounded. Like, it would stop, like it was waiting for somebody else to answer, and then it would start again. My mom always taught me darkness cannot live in the light, okay? So I got this idea to jump up, and at the end of my bed was the light switch for the entire room. And so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna turn on the light on this bitch ass. This plan, and I'm just sitting there, and the whole time, you guys, it's just whispering. It was whispering and whispering, and just out of nowhere, you guys, I jumped so fast. I leaped off of my bed and just hit that switch so fucking fast, and immediately everything just got silent. The room is quiet, and I look over, and Ariel's not in her bed. And I'm just sitting there at the end of my bed and looking around, and I'm so confused. And I'm like, what are the odds of Ariel getting up at this exact moment to go into the bathroom right now? Where could she have gone? This was a little 2-bedroom apartment, okay? Like, there was not many places that she could go, and everything else in the apartment is dark. I'm not trying to wake up my parents, but like, where is she? And I went into the bathroom and I turned on the light. I looked behind the door, I looked behind the curtain, and I'm just sitting there like, where the fuck is this girl? And I turned to like leave the bathroom, and I hear it. It's coming from our room. But this time it was a little bit louder, and it sounded like Ariel. And I go in there, the light is still on, Ariel's still not anywhere in the room. And so I'm just sitting there, you guys, in the middle of the room, just scanning it like a fucking crazy person. Like, I know I heard her. Where the fuck is she? And I look behind me, and it's our closet doors, and we have the doors that slide like this. I'm so scared, but I'm kind of mad because I know that whisper that I just heard when I was in the bathroom, it sounded like Ariel. Like, I'm up now. I'm like, there's no covers around my head. I heard her. I know I heard her. I just slowly roll the closet door to the side, and there's Ariel hunched down in the corner of our closet on top of her shoes. She was like looking up at me, and she just has my phone in her hand. What the fuck are you doing? What are you doing? I started stuttering. I heard your phone kept going off, and I was like, my phone kept going off. She goes, yeah, I was just trying to silence it. I grabbed her by the arm and I just pulled her out of the closet, and I was like, get your ass out of there. And I said, give me my fucking phone. And so I grabbed the phone from her. And it was a flip phone, okay? At this time, my first phone, it was a flip phone, okay? Don't be making fun of me. And I go through my recents, and there's a call that lasted for almost an hour. A call to Jessica. Do you guys remember who Jessica is in my phone? Right back on that phone, and I called him. You guys, she's sitting there looking like she's about to shit herself. And I looked at her and I said, get your ass on your bed right now. I'm like calling him right now. And I'm in the interim while it's ringing, I'm yelling at her. Was this you the whole time? You're full of shit. I was like, this entire time it was you whispering on the phone with him? And before she could answer, he answers the phone. Hey, I thought you hung up on me. Hey Austin, it's Nikki. Click, he hangs up. He hangs up right away. He didn't say shit. He didn't try to explain nothing. He just hung up. You've been talking to him? Tell me how many times you've been talking to him. I said, it's been every time that I've heard the whispering, huh? That was you? It was just you? It was at this moment that I realized that there was something fucking wrong with her. And I just sat there and I couldn't get my mind around it. Like, I had never come into contact with somebody that was so sneaky and conniving. Like, she premeditated this entire thing. She just played the innocent. I didn't know that it was that big of a deal. I had never talked to a boy on the phone. I just got curious. We were mostly talking about you. I was like, oh no. She just bursted into tears and she was like, I'm sorry. Like, I just got really curious and I don't know why I did it. And he tried to call you and I answered and I was going to give the phone over to you. And I said, when did that happen? And she was like, about a week ago he called. And I was like, he called for me. And she goes, yeah, and you were in the shower. And so I just answered it and I told him that you were in the shower, and then he and I just started talking. She was legitimately begging. Like, this girl fell off of her bed onto her knees and was crying and saying, please don't tell my dad. Please, please don't tell my dad. After a while, it just didn't matter. She just didn't care if she got in trouble. But at this point, she was still so little that she cared if she got in trouble with her dad. When she started explaining why she was doing what she was doing, she was blaming it on things like in her life, like, this was just happening too fast, you know, between our parents, and I don't feel like I have control, and my dad's attention isn't on me anymore, and blah, blah, blah. And so she's talking to me, and of course, I feel the same way. I'm in the exact same position as she is, and I took the route of just coddling her, to be honest with you. Like, I couldn't see her cry like that. And so I ended up hugging her and like getting her on her bed and hugging her, and I was like, you cannot do that. You cannot be lying. Like, I don't know where you learned that from, because like we were just getting to know each other. This was like my first time being a big sister, and I was just like, you cannot handle situations like that to get what you want. You cannot do that. I was like, if you and I are going to be sisters and you have questions or you're curious, come to me and ask me. We ended up staying up that night until like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. Just like, that opened up the door to like us telling each other all about us, like our past, the things that we've been through, the people that have hurt us. It turned into that. And so to be real with you guys, she got out of it. She got out of it by like using that I'm so damaged, I'm so hurt card, please pity me. I fell right into it. And so I was like, you know what? We're going to move on. He don't fucking matter. Like, whatever. My feelings for him went away that fast, because like it was just such a little puppy love thing, and I was so mad, and I knew that I never had to see him again. I never contacted him again. Fuck that. Like, how are you going to sit up there like, okay, fine, she's a little girl, but you, and I told him, like, I was so mad because I went to school and I was telling him about this entire fucking thing, and that like my little stepsister was telling me about this ghost and everything, and really, you knew that it was you and her? Yeah, that is the story about the hoe haunting. I hope you guys enjoyed this story. If you did and would like some more Halloween, paranormal, and hoe stepsister videos, please give this video a huge thumbs up to let me know. It helps me out a lot. I'm so excited for this month. We have so many really fun things to like talk about, and the stories that I've been saving for you guys for the month of October, like yes. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please let me know your thoughts down below. I know that this entire story is so crazy, and like I was thinking about it before filming, and I was just like, who the fuck goes through this? Like, I don't know. I have no fucking answers for you. Like, this legit happened. Like, this shit was real. This was my life. This was the person that I was sharing a fucking room with, okay? Like this weird ass person. Please don't forget to hit that huge subscribe button to be a part of my Glamazon family. I love my Glamazon so much. You guys make my whole life. I love you guys. Thank you guys so much for being patient with me and just loving me throughout this entire part of my life and just all of the change that's going on right now. So much more to come. I'm so excited. I love you guys, and I will see you guys very, very soon in my next video. Peace out.